Hi, I'm Gary, and I'm here with Dave, the raw food trucker, and we just watched his seminar set through it, and it was fantastic. And I just wanted to ask Dave a few questions. When some of the scary moments when you found out that you were actually going to die,
Yeah.
and you met people who coached you to regain your health. How was that for you?
I actually didn't believe them that I could live through this. David and Udara Whiting were a couple, and they got into my truck and they wanted to learn how to drive a big rig. And they told me that they knew of a diet. I told them I was dying. I weighed 430 pounds. I had 10 different diseases. And they told me that they knew a diet I could go on where it would probably help heal me up of a lot of things. I would lose all kinds of weight, and I could eat as much as I want. And all I heard in that was I could eat as much as I want. And my goal was to live long enough to see my son graduate from college and my daughter graduate from high school. They were 4 years apart. And this was like maybe 8 months from the time I met them. And when I started this diet, they told me to get rid of all the animal products, and that's something that's very hard for Americans to hear. It was hard for me to hear. And to go organic. I didn't even understand what organics were. Get all the pesticides out of my body, and then get all the animal products out of my body, and stop cooking my food. And one of the things that I remember thinking was, these guys are crazy. I mean, who does this? And, you know, why? But they told me I could eat as much as I want. I said, I'll try it. That's all I heard at 430 pounds. And after 90 days, amazing things started happening. I lost 98 pounds in 90 days. I got off of all my diabetic meds, a thing called juice feasting. I got off of all my acid reflux meds in the first less than 15 days on this diet. I was eating a bottle of Rolaids every day, or 4 packs. That was gone in less than 10 days. It was amazing things were happening. I used to have to be on an inhaler above 2,500 feet above sea level when I was driving a rig going up over the mountains. And within 2 months, I suddenly realized I wasn't using my inhalers, so I just got rid of them. And after 3 months, this strange thing entered into me, and it was a thought. You know, the thought was, could I actually live? And then came hope, and hope entered into my heart. And I was like, wow, if I can do this, if I could actually live, if these guys are right, if what they're saying is right, and I got a shot at living, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go for it. And thank God, it turned out they were right. And I really believe this. When you go raw, organic, vegan, you put those 3 things together, and you actually do this 100%, it becomes the most healing diet on the planet to the human species, bar none. I've now traveled around the world 6.5 years later, sharing this message and meeting hundreds of people that have reversed diseases, been healed from diseases, cured diseases, have them under control. Call it what you will. It's all semantics to me. The bottom line is, when you do this 100%, you start to get healthier and healthier, better and better and better. Can I say everybody's reversed 100% of diseases? No, I can't say that. What I can say is everybody gets hella healthier, way more healthier. People start seeing major changes in their lives as they move in that direction. And for me, it's just been an incredible thing. I mean, I was laying in a hospital bed, paralyzed on the right side of my body, and I was doing everything they were telling me to do. I took their 11 prescription medications they wanted me to take, all this stuff, and then they told me that I had to eat the cooked food. Well, I wasn't going to do that, because I know that cooked food coagulates the minerals, it destroys the protein content, and it has carcinogens in it. Carcinogens are things that produce not good things in our bodies, such as cancer, amongst other things. The bottom line is, when I refused to eat the food, I was then informed that I was no longer under the care of the hospital or the doctors. And then, lo and behold, later on that afternoon, I get a call from my insurance company. Dave, what are you doing? I mean, it's almost $20,000 a day. You've had a major stroke and a minor heart attack. You're laying in this hospital. We want to help you, but why aren't you following the doctor's instructions? Gee, let me ask you a question here, because I'm laying there paralyzed, and I sure as hell didn't make the phone call, right? I couldn't talk. So how did they find out that I was no longer under the hospital's instructions? How did they find out so fast? Somebody called them and informed them. Gee whiz, you know. I did two things different in that hospital, and I was told that I would probably never walk again, be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. The goal was to get into a walker around the house for some exercise. Did I come to this meeting in a wheelchair?
No,
did
you
you
did not.
see me in a stroller? Did you see
No.
me with crutches?
No.
Did you see me with a cane?
Not at all.
Yeah, right on. Could you understand every single word I'm saying now, and could you understand every single word in that lecture I gave tonight?
Absolutely. And I was in the back of the room.
And he was in the back of the room, folks. And guess what? The state of California told me that my goal would be to get speech capacity 50% back. I will be talking like this, right? Can you see my fingers? Because the goal was for me to move my fingers like this after physical therapy. Okay? I can write my own name. I have nothing drooping. I reversed 100% of paralysis. I did all this in under 6 months. To the best of my knowledge, I'm the only person. I could be wrong in this, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only person that walked out of that hospital ward. I did two things differently. I took the 11 prescription drugs they put me on, but I refused to eat the cooked food, and I demanded only raw, organic, vegan, whole plant-based diet, and I wanted only juice. The doctor said, you can't do that. Finally, he said, okay, you can do it, but your girlfriend, Teresa, my business partner actually, she's going to have to go and make it outside of the hospital, and when she brings it in, it has to be in a plastic cup with a plastic lid with straw, and it has to have a plastic bag tied around it. You got 5 minutes to drink it, and then at the end of that, it will be thrown away. It will be put back in that plastic bag, and we put in biomedical red, medically contaminated waste bag, this empty organic juice, and thrown away that way. I was like laying there paralyzed going, what the heck? Bottom line is this, I started massive juicing and I started massive green smoothies. Teresa made them for me. And I walked from the hospital door at the bottom, because they took me in a wheelchair, to there. But I walked to the car. Nobody touched me. It took 3 people to get me in the car. But I walked, I shuffled my feet and had my balance. And let me tell you what they offered me in that hospital ward. Let's just forget about the things that I talked about tonight, about the raw, organic, vegan, and getting the pesticides out of the food and what happens to pesticides when you cook them. Let's forget about all the things that change when we cook the molecular structure of the food when it changes. Let's forget about all that. Let's just talk about what basic Americans already know about, okay? Clogged arteries, major cause for heart attack and stroke. Here's what they wanted to feed me in that hospital room. They brought me my choice. I refused to eat it, but they brought me and offered me roast beef or roast turkey, giant instant mashed potatoes with gravy, dark brown gravy, and then the meat was smothered, both the turkey and the roast beef were also smothered in gravy. And then they had pop-top applesauce, some Jell-O, and a little bit of iceberg lettuce that had no green in it. That's a 100% dead food diet. On top of that, even I only have a 9th grade education, folks. I am not a doctor. I'm not trying to give medical advice. I never graduated from high school. I went back to try to get a GED, and I couldn't do it. But here's the bottom line. I'm laying there paralyzed in a stroke ward for stroke victims and heart attack victims, and they're feeding us what? Meats with trans fatty acids. We had 2 cubes that said in red, real butter, right? Now, we know as Americans, we know that, hey, you know, carbohydrates with fats and trans fatty acids from the meats clog the arteries, okay? So let's just call gravy what it is, almost pure fat, okay? Let's call the instant mashed potatoes what they actually are, almost pure carbohydrate and fat. Let's call the butter what it is, real fat, pure fat, okay? Let's call the applesauce what it is, dead. There is no nutritional value to the applesauce when it's been pasteurized and heated above and all the enzymes in it are dead, okay? I am laying there in that hospital with a 9th grade education, and I'm looking at this and I'm horrified by what they're feeding us. And the nutritionalist had looked at me and he said, Dave, I just want you to know I've been here for 17 to 19 years, and you know, the goal is for you to get into a walker around the house. And he said he was sorry to be the bearer of bad news. He was just telling me what he'd seen for 17 to 19 years there in the hospital. And in that moment that they were trying to feed me this food, I realized, oh my God, no wonder why he's saying this. That's a 100% dead food diet. Everything in there clogs the arteries. Everybody's in there for a heart attack and or a stroke, right? I'm just sitting here going, really, it's inexcusable. And I know these are not words, nice words, but I'm going to come out and say it. When it comes to nutrition, my experience with the AMA is that they're truly mentally retarded when it comes to the area of nutrition. They don't have a clue. It's what I call the missing link. I am pro Western medicine. I think it's great stuff, man. If I get in a car wreck, I want my bones reset. I want x-rays. I want to see what's going on with me. But the reality is that when it comes to nutrition, they just don't have a clue. And they're feeding people with heart attacks and strokes, turkey, roast beef, instant mashed potatoes, gravy, butter. Come on. Really? I mean, I have a 9th grade education. I'm laying there in this bed and I know that stuff creates clogged arteries. That stuff is what causes heart attacks. I mean, I just cannot tell you what I experienced laying there paralyzed in the hospital, seeing what they were trying to feed me. And I refused to eat that food. And 10 days later, I walked out of that hospital. I only made it to the car. It took 3 people to help me get in the car. I couldn't drive. But I'll tell you what, after 6 months, I'm 100% reversed from the effects of the stroke. 100% reversed. No paralysis on the right side of my body. 93 to 97% paralyzed, refused to eat the cooked food, went raw organic vegan, 100% whole food plant-based diet, drank only dark green leafy vegetable juice and smoothies. Those are the only 2 things that I did. They pumped me full of 11 prescription drugs. In the first 6 months I went raw organic vegan. I got off of 18 of 19 prescription medications and 6 over-the-counter medications. I have a heart attack and stroke. I'm back on 11. I did everything the hospital wanted except eat their food. And I went 100% raw organic vegan and stuck with juices and smoothies and reversed the heart attack and the stroke. This to me is the most common sense basic thing. I mean, I keep looking at this time and time again. I'm sorry, I get excited about it. I can't help it. I apologize about that.
No.
Really, honestly and truly, man. I mean, when you're told you're going to die, or you're told, like I was, paralyzed for the rest of your life, and you're laying there paralyzed, if I didn't know what I knew, I would still be paralyzed. I believe to the core of who I am as a human being that had I eaten that cooked food, I would be paralyzed right now. Because the healing process never would have started. Because I flooded my body with phytonutrients, antioxidants, beta-carotenes, elements, trace elements, nutrients, the vitamin, the full vitamin spectrum, the full mineral spectrum, from photosynthesis, from a plant-based whole foods system that grows from the earth. I took no animal products whatsoever. I ate nothing that was cooked. So all the enzymes were in the food. It was living food. I took the fiber out, which meant what? I could drink 10 times the amount through the juice that I could drink in the smoothies, and I could drink 20 times the amount that I could if I just ate the whole plant food just by itself. When you do that and you juice, the juice hits your bloodstream within 20 to 30 minutes. Boom, it just goes right through. And you're giving your organs and your intestines a break. All the stuff that has to process the fiber, your liver, your kidney, your spleen, everything gets a break while you're doing this from the fiber. And you can just drink as much juice as you want, and that's what I did. And I reversed the stroke symptoms. My heart right now is beating at 80, somewhere between 87 and 89% capacity. When I left the hospital, it was at 61 to 63% capacity. That was just 2 years ago. I know I'm on the right track to getting better. I remember when at 11 months on this diet, my kidneys were leaking proteins in my bloodstream, and I was on 4 or 5 prescription medications for it. One of them was lisinopril, which the kidney specialist told me had a side effect, and it coated the kidney with this gooey stuff to help the proteins to stop leaking into the blood system. After 6 months, I'm off of 18 of 19 prescription medications, including all of them for my kidneys. At 11 months, they called me back 3 times saying there's a mistake with the blood test, and I go back in on the 4th blood test. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, well, we don't know. We can't find any proteins leaking into your blood system. It's irreversible according to Western medicine, so they were stymied by it. I'm like, well, there's this doctor, Gabriel Cousins, MD, and he talks about cellular regeneration. You could have heard a pin drop, right? But let me ask you guys something. Seriously, I'm on all these medications for the kidneys. AMA says it's irreversible. Once your kidneys start leaking protein into your blood system, you are going to end up on a kidney dialysis machine. There's no hope. Why, after 11 months, getting off all the prescription medications, getting all the animal products out of my blood system, going 100% organic, getting all the pesticides out of my system, why did the proteins stop leaking into my blood system? I would submit to you that cellular regeneration actually happens. And really, if it's irreversible and I'm on 4 or 5 prescription medications, including one to coat the kidneys with some goopy stuff, then when I'm off the prescription medications, why is it getting better? If it's irreversible, the prescription medication should be helping, not hindering, right? I get off the prescription medication within 11 months. I just went back to a doctor in January. It's April now, correct? Mid-April or something?
Yep.
Bottom line is that in January, I went back to my doctor, had my blood test. This is 6 years later. I still have no proteins leaking into my blood system. 5 years later.
Wow.
If cellular regeneration does not happen in the human body, then how do you explain me 5 years later no longer having kidney problems with them leaking the proteins into the blood system? I mean, that's the beginning of kidney failure. I don't know, I just look at this and I go, okay, I have a 9th grade education, not a doctor, but you know what? It works, and this makes sense, and I'm living it. I've now coached over 200 people. The diseases that I've seen reversed, controlled, whatever you want to call it, it's all semantics to me. The bottom line is, 1 of 2 things happen to you when you get disease. Either disease is going to kill you, or you're going to kill the disease. Either you're going to bring the disease under control, or the disease is going to control you and eventually kill you. I don't care what disease it is. Disease is going to take you out. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just saying what is a fact. Disease in the human body, there's going to be 1 or 2 winners. It's going to be you or the disease.
Yeah, I always like to say, live food, live body. Dead food, dead body.
Yes! You got it in a nutshell. That says it all.
Yep, it does.
That really, truly does.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And now, during this first 90 days, you were still trucking, right?
Oh, I was trucking during all of it.
During all of it.
Yeah.
So when you were on the road, wasn't it difficult to make smoothies and juices? And how did you handle
Sure.
that?
When I stopped playing around at 90 days because I found out I had cancer. That took me 6 months to reverse through green juice. What I did was I started out with an extension cord and 100 foot of extension cord and a juicer. And then one day I came to a place that had 120 feet to get the extension cord from the plug-in at the rest area to the picnic table. And so I ended up in all this with 400 feet of extension cord. One day I burned up my juicer because I just had a cheap juicer. I didn't know what I was doing. I was burning them up about every 8 weeks because I was making 3 gallons every 3 days of juice. I was drinking a gallon of juice every day. Dark green leafy vegetable juice and a low glycemic mix. And I ended up with 2 juicers in my big rig, 400 foot of extension cord, a juicer in the trunk of my car, a juicer at my girlfriend's house, and a juicer at my dad's house. I made a decision I would never, ever, ever be anywhere without my juice because excuses are useless. I want to live. Once that 90-day period came into play and this thing called hope entered my mind and my heart, then I was like, whoa, I got a shot at this. I'm taking it. And I did, and I'm alive today, 6.5 years later. And if I die tomorrow, it's not from the juicing. I still have a serious heart condition. I'm getting better, but I still got it. Guess what? I got 6.5 years of life extension out of this. I'll take it. If I die 30 years from now, it's 36.5 years life extension. Who knows how long it'll be or how short it'll be. But the bottom line is, I got this much life extension out of it. You can too. Anybody can. I put this challenge out to you. Go take a blood test. Then immediately after your blood test, just do a 90-day, 100% raw organic vegan diet. Just for 90 days. You're not going to do it for the rest of your life. I know this is crazy, but just try it. Then go back and take a blood test and tell me what your doctor says, because they're going to be telling you, whoa, what are you doing? This is incredible. It's a near miracle. That's what Western medicine says over here in the raw food movement. Dave, you reversed 11 diseases: heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, obesity. I lost, what, 230 pounds in 1.5 to 1 year and 8 months. I mean, just the list goes on and on. I no longer have arthritis. I no longer have acid reflux. I was on 19 prescription medications, 6 over-the-counter medications. In 6 months, I was off all but 1. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is normal in the raw food movement. Over here in the Western medical system, it's like, oh my God, this is incredible. What are you doing? And as soon as you tell them what you're doing, they're like, oh wow, keep doing it, but thanks, we're not interested. You know, really. I mean, it's just a mind blower to me how my kidney specialist, the oncologist, my heart doctor, my family doctor for my obesity, every one of these doctors saw what I did, all reversing this to raw organic vegan. And then as soon as they find out it's raw organic vegan, they're like, oh, I remember handing one of my doctors, oh, I really need to find out about this. What are you doing? I give them Dr. Gabriel Cousins' MD book, There Is a Cure for Diabetes. They look at it and they're, wow, this is really strange. I'm surprised the doctor wrote this. It says there is a cure for diabetes. They look at me and they go, there is no cure for diabetes. I'm like, let's see, I just got off my diabetic meds, all of them, double doses of metformin, lactose, and glyceride in 4 days, juice feasting, doing what this guy in this book said. I come back because every 90 days I had to go get my blood checked because I'm a truck driver, and so I had to prove that my diabetes was under control. I see the doctor hands me the book back, and the doctor goes, Dave, there's something I should warn you about. This doctor's on a quackery list. I mean, keep doing what you're doing, but there is no cure for diabetes. I'm like, and now I'm at 6 months and I'm off 18 of 19 prescription medications. I walked out of that office, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I can get on a quackery list.
Absolutely.
Because what this doctor's talking about is working. I'm alive 6 months later. 6 months later, I no longer have cancer. I no longer have diabetes. I've lost, God, I don't know, 150 pounds in 6 months. It was nuts. I no longer had arthritis. I no longer had acid reflux. I was off of 18 of 19 prescription medications. I was off of 6 over-the-counter medications. I don't get this, really.
And neither do they.
Kidney specialist, yeah, neither do they, really. My kidney specialist, you can't do dark green leafy vegetable juice. You're gonna die. Your kidneys are gonna fail. And if you're out on the road and you don't get to a hospital in time and they fail, you're gonna die. You need to be eating chicken and pork and, you know, you need to be getting protein into your body. I'm like sitting there going, I don't know. What I do know is I'm off all these prescription medications. I'm feeling younger and younger and younger. I'm feeling healthier and healthier and healthier. I'm feeling fantastic. What's going on? This is what I know. Over here, I weigh 430 pounds on an animal-based diet. Over here, I feel alive again. I feel like I did in my 30s. I mean, I was just like, this makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. Everything is bass-ackwards. I'm going to tell you guys straight up. America has it wrong. It's not empty calories. It's not. I don't count calories. I don't know anybody in the raw organic movement that counts calories. It's empty nutrition. When we flood the body with everything it needs, antioxidants, beta-carotenes, phytonutrients, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, elements, trace elements, everything from a plant-based whole foods diet, guess what happens? Integrative, nutritionally speaking, the body sorts everything out that it needs, and then it sends it to the liver, the kidney, the spleen, the heart, the lung, so on and so forth. Your body knows what to do. When was the last time you stopped and, I need to make my heart beat? Better do it now. I need to take a breath. We don't do that. Our body does it. The body knows what it needs. The more I flooded myself with everything it needed, the less cravings I had for food. I believe I was having the cravings because what happens is the body you eat, you send it food. If it doesn't get what it needs, it's going to send you the message that you need to eat more and more and more, because the only thing the body knows is it needs the nutrition. It's not getting it. When you give the body everything it needs, it says, oh wow, cool, here's something for the liver, here's something for the kidney, here's something for the heart, here's something for the lungs, here's something for the spleen, here's something for the muscle tissue, here's something for the veins, here's something for the eyes, here's something for the hair, here's something for the eye, you know, every single thing, the skin, everything in the human body that it needs. It is utterly amazing. And when you give the body what it needs, which is a full spectrum, integrative nutritionally speaking, you know, minerals are not found. They're found in clusters in nature that we digest and ingest. They are not found as isolates like what you go to GNC and buy a mineral, a single mineral like calcium or something. That's not how it's found in nature. On top of that, Paul C. Bragg, the founder of the health movement in America, he questioned whether the body could even absorb minerals from the earth when it's mingled with water versus minerals that are in a plant base through photosynthesis that are coming out. Interesting observations, just a little bit of food for thought. But I just throw this out to you. Do this experiment because the blood don't lie. You can't cheat on a blood test. It shows what's there. That's a bottom line, end of story. Just try it. Go take a blood test and then do 100% raw organic vegan just for 90 days, and then you're going to go back to eating the way you normally did, and then go back, see your doctor, and see what your blood looks like, because it's going to be amazing.
How does it feel now when David and Eunice came up and got in your truck?
Oh,
knowing that they saved, let's say they saved your life.
They did. Between them and Dr. Gabriel Cousins' research into diabetes, I'm alive today because of David and Judith turning me on to raw organic vegan foods and Dr. Gabriel Cousins' research into diabetes. It is utterly amazing because I'm on tour with David and Judith, and so I get to honor the people that saved my life and turned me on to all this. And it's nothing short of an honor and a privilege. I mean, I taught them how to drive a truck and they taught me how to live. I think I got the better end of the stick on that one, folks. I really do, you know.
Thank you.
Blessings, brother.
Thank
Blessings, and thank you for having me on this interview. Yeah, if anybody
My
wants to get a
pleasure.
hold of me, I'm at Dave Conrady, C-O-N-R-A-R-D-Y, again, Dave Conrady, C-O-N-R-A-R-D-Y.com, and I'm also on Facebook under Dave Conrady, C-O-N-R-A-R-D-Y, or Dave the Raw Food Trucker is a fan page, Dave the Raw Food Trucker. So you can get a hold of me anywhere in those three things.
And all three of those sites are fantastic, so go there and sign up and get connected
Thank you.
with Dave.
Good to go. I'm honored, guys. Thank you very much from my heart to yours.